Last week, I showed you how to build a full working Power Pages portal using Claude Code in just under an hour. The number one comment was, how do I actually set this up? So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can set this up on your environment step by step. There are 5 things that we need to get this set up: Node.js, VS Code plus the Power Platform tools, Azure CLI, Claude Code, and the plugin itself. If you don't know what these are, don't worry, I'm going to explain them very simply to you and show you exactly how to get these set up on your system. So the first thing that we're going to do is install Node.js. What we want to do is open our browser and we're going to be looking for nodejs.org. And we're going to select enter. And then we want to download the LTS version. To do this, we're going to come to download, and then we want to scroll down, make sure we've got our operating system selected, so Windows, and then select the installer. So we're just going to click this. Once the download's finished, we want to open the file or prepare to install. Okay, and once it's installed, it's going to make us go through the setup wizard. We're just going to select next and go through the defaults here. Select install and wait for this to set up. And once it's finished, it will say click the finish button. And we've done that. Now, to validate that this has been installed, open your terminal. So we'll just come into the Windows Start, type in terminal, and then we're going to run node -- version. Select enter, and you can see the version number will show up if it's installed successfully. Okay, now we're going to need our IDE, which is Visual Studio Code in this case, and also the Power Platform tools, all known as the Pack CLI. So this allows us to customize our code, and the Pack CLI is the extension which allows us to deploy our code to our Power Pages site. Now, you don't need to install the Pack CLI separately. It comes as an extension of Visual Studio Code. So let's get started with downloading Visual Studio Code. So we're just going to open our browser. We're going to type in Visual Studio Code, open this up, ensure we are downloading it for the right operating system, so Windows in this case. It's going to open up a setup, and we're just going to queue it to open once it's done. Open the file, accept the agreement, and just move forward with the defaults here as well. We want to create a desktop icon in this case. Then once it's finished, we want to finish and launch Visual Studio Code, and just like that, it'll open for us. So we're just going to go full screen in this case. Now what we want to do is come on the left-hand side, go to extensions, and we want to install the Power Platform tools extension. So if we just type in Power Platform, you can see they'll pop up, and we're just going to select install. Once it's installed, it's going to say it wants to sign in using Microsoft, so we're going to allow, and then we're going to sign in with the account that we want to be authenticated on. Don't worry about this so much because we can change it later, but for now we just want to sign in with an account. It's going to ask us for the icon theme, so we're just going to click the top one, and then you can see a pop-up here saying the Pack CLI is ready for use in our terminal. Now what we want to do is install the Azure CLI. Now the Azure CLI handles the authentication to your tenant, and now what we want to do is just type in Microsoft's Azure CLI install, select enter, scroll down, open this Microsoft Learn article, and I feel the Microsoft installer is the quickest way to do this on Windows. So what we want to do is select Microsoft Installer MSI, scroll down, and install the correct bit. So in this case it will be 64. Wait for this to install and then open it once it's finished. And after it's finished, we're going to open it. It's going to prepare to install, so we're just going to wait for it here. And then it will give us this wizard. We'll just accept the terms and go through the defaults. Okay, now that's done, we're just going to select finish, and then we have done that. To make sure this has worked, open a fresh new terminal, and then we're going to run AZ space -- version. And then we're going to select enter, and you can see it will give us the details confirming that it's been downloaded. Okay, so now we want to install Claude Code. So again, we're going to open a fresh new terminal, and we're going to run this command: npm install /g @anthropic-ai/Claude Code, and then select enter. You can see now it's added those 2 packages, and to validate that it's working, we're going to run this command: Claude space -- version, select enter. You can see it's given us the Claude Code version, and now we just want to run the command Claude to authenticate it with our Anthropic account. If you don't have Git for Windows installed in this case, it will prompt you to install it, but if you do, it will just run. But in this case, we don't, since we're using a sandbox environment. So what we're going to do is just minimize this terminal, and we're going to go to this URL, which is git-scm.com/downloads. It'll prompt us to download the version. Click on here, and we're just going to run this as well. We're going to go through the wizard, select the defaults. If I was you, I'd read through these, but for testing purposes, we're not going to. And then we're going to select finish, and then we'll select finish. And now we have that, we can open up our terminal again. And now when we run Claude, it should work. And straight away it will work. So if you see this Claude sign, it means you're in. It's going to prompt us to set some features. So we're just going to select dark mode. It's going to ask us how we want to log in. So in this case, we're just going to select Claude account with subscription. It's going to take us to our browser and log in. So I'm just going to do that quickly. It'll say login successful. We'll select enter, and then once we've authenticated and gone through the prompts that it gives us, we should be here. So that's Claude Code installed for us. Now what we want to do is open the documentation for the Power Pages plugin. Come down, you'll see a nice table of the prerequisites that we've already gone through, and these are the steps that we now want to follow within our Visual Studio Code terminal. We're going to open up Visual Studio Code, come into terminal, new terminal, and now what we want to do is run these commands. So we're going to copy this, and what this is going to do is verify that we're authenticated. We're going to come into Visual Studio Code, paste, enter. It's given us our authenticated profile. If we're not authenticated, we run this command, but we've already done that. Now we want to install the plugin. So this is what's recommended from Microsoft themselves. So I would recommend just copying this command, going into Visual Studio Code and pasting, and selecting enter. And then you can see it will tell us that it's installing. It's going to validate that we have the prerequisites, and if you followed this step by step, you should. And done. The plugin is now installed. Now let's run a quick test to make sure it's all working. So we're just going to type in Claude. And if you get this error once you run it, you want to run this command. Set execution policy, scope current user, execution policy, remote signed. Select enter, and then try running Claude again. And you can see it's going to ask us if we trust the folder. We'll select yes. And you can see we are here. Now to validate that the Power Pages plugin is installed, we'll select /power, and then you can see the Power Pages skills are available to us. If you want to see what this plugin can actually do, go to last week's video where I go through step by step how you can use it to build a Power Pages portal. Links in the description. Drop a comment if you get stuck with any of these steps. I know we had to go through quite a few hoops to get to where we are, but I'll help you out the best I can. But for now, take it easy.